Hello everyone, on this video we are going to see how we can add an Azure application as a service principal into an environment and provide the administrator privilege to system administrator privilege to that application on this environment. For this purpose, you need to run a flow, do a couple of HTTP calls. And for this purpose, you need to register some applications in Azure. Stay tuned, and I will show you how to do it. Hello everyone, Trojan 365 is back. My name is Hamed, your tutor today, and we are going to register a service principal to manage the Power Platform environment. What do we need to do is we need an application to access the environment as an administrator. We don't want to use the global service principal for this purpose. The design is we have two applications, application 1, application 2. The application 1 is the tenant admin service principal, which only few people like the tenant admin has access to it. And it only has access to the Power Platform. We have another application, the application 2, which only has access to a specific environment. It doesn't have access to the Power Platform. It doesn't have access to all of the environments. For this scenario, we are only going to give this application access to the personal productivity. Why? Because we need to make an HTTP post to register an application in a Power Platform environment. That's why we are going to make this tutorial today, and we want to automate this process because of course you can register an application manually going to the environment, but we want to automate it to be run unattended. How? First of all, we need to register an application 1 as a tenant admin service principal by a Power Platform admin person. A real person is doing that on the Power Platform environment. And the application 2 or application 3, 4, 5, any other applications which are only specific to a specific environment will be registered to a specific environment by application 1. This application is basically the admin application. The rest of the applications are only the environment admin applications. What you will learn today is to register application 1 and 2 in Azure. And of course, we just don't register it, we configure it as well. We need to add application 1 as the platform admin using PowerShell. We need to get the HTTP token for application 1 using a Power Automate. And then we add the application 2 as an environment administrator. Then you can use the application 2 to access the Dataverse unattended. Stay tuned. Now we are going to register the application 1, navigate to the app registrations of your tenant. In Microsoft Entra ID, press the new registration, then write your name for that application. Press register. Then navigate to authentication. Make it as yes. The allow public client flows. This helps you to use the password credential flow. Then, after you saved it, navigate to the API permissions. Add a permission. Search for APIs in my organization. Search for Power Apps. Power App Service. Check this one. Access the Power App Service API. Add permission. Then ask your administrator to grant admin consent for this application. Now it is granted. We are done for application 1, And of course, we need to make a certification and secret. Now I'm going to make a new client secret. I'm going to choose it to expire just like today, because I don't need it anymore. And that's it. You copy this value, keep it in a safe place, and we go on to PowerShell now. To register the application 1 as a Power Apps management application, which is basically the tenant and Power Platform administrator service principal, you need to run this 4-line of code basically. So you need to install the module Microsoft Power Apps Administration.PowerShell. Then you store your tenant administration service principal app ID. This is the application that we just created. Just copy and paste the application ID here. And here's your tenant ID. You always need your tenant ID to authenticate. And then add the Power Apps account, connect to the endpoint of the prod endpoint to this tenant. Then we are going to register this application using the new Power Apps Management app. We write the application ID, we write the application ID here, and we are done. So I ran this line, I authenticated to the Power Platform. Now I want to run this one. Let's run it. Simple. It just got registered. Now we are going to register application 2. I keep the name as application 2. And you really don't need to do anything. You just need to register the application, and if you want, you can basically create a secret for that one, but we really don't need it right now. We just need this application ID at the moment. Now we navigate to the Power Apps portal. We just create an instant Cloudflow to test this idea. So I just created a new flow here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do an HTTP call. Just a simple HTTP call. And I keep it, I rename it as a token, just for myself to know what am I doing. And then another HTTP, which is basically HTTP register the application. So for the first one, we are going to connect to the Power Platform using the app ID and secret. And the second one, we are going to take the token. And then for the second one, we are going to register that application into an environment. Just to be safe, I have added a get secret connection. There's an important point that you might not want to keep your secret in a flow because it can be accessible and it's very dangerous to do that. Instead, I am making a connection to the Azure Key Vault. I'm getting the secret. I use this action to get the secret. And this is the name of my secret. I just copied and pasted it into the Azure Key Vault. And you might want to set it as secure output, so no one can see the history of the flow run and can take the secret. It's always a good practice to do so. Then to take a token, you need to do a post call to this URI. Basically, this is the standard Microsoft authentication token URL. You can find it under your endpoint URLs in Azure. Basically, if you come over here under your application and you can just click on the top endpoints, and you will see what is the authentication and authorization endpoint and what is the token endpoint. I just copied the token endpoint here for myself and paste it here. Then we need to have the content type header like this. And this is very interesting and important. Now we have the content type as form URL encoded. Now you need to put the body. The body will be like this. You need to have the client ID that you registered as the tenant administrator. And I'm going to copy it here. Okay, I have copied the wrong one here. It was for the username and password and the user credentials, but we are going to use an app credential. Don't make that mistake. Now I'm going to copy this client ID and make sure that this is service.powerapps.com/default, and the client secret is the value of the secret, and the grant type is client credential, and that's basically it. For the second one, you need to do a post method again. Okay, for the second one, you need to do a post as well, and you need this URL. And as you can see, I have selected the default environment here, or personal productivity environment ID here to be added there. And then we just need to add the authorization header here and the content type. The content type is just the application JSON, but the authorization is a bearer token. Which basically is the access token coming from there. But we don't have that access token, right? So what I will do, I will parse this JSON. And as the input, I have the token body. The schema I need to generate from template. So basically I can just ignore this one, or let's just run it once. I save it and temporarily I can just put a terminate here. It's easier, or I can now we are doing some Power Automate stuff. So we just need to get the schema here. So I just save it, run it once as a test. For the first time, you need to create a manual. You need to run it manually because you need to create the connections here and run the flow. The input is invalid. Yep, is not well formed. We need to fix it. Yeah, and apparently I have forgotten to put the application here. Of course, these errors are really good in the tutorial because we might make the same mistake. More errors we see, more we learn. And another, yeah, the unauthorized. This is okay. This is just saying that it's not authorized. And that's fine actually. Let's see, where did we make a mistake? Yeah, I guess I know where did I make a mistake, because the token was supposed to work on only today, but now the time has passed from 12, so I have to update my token again. Okay, I have updated the secret in the Azure Key Vault, and now I press the test. I hope it works. I just select the previous run, that's fine. Yeah, it worked, luckily. So what I need to do is just to copy this, the body, press edit, add the JSON, parse JSON here. Yep. The input will be the body. The schema will be generated from this sample. And now I just move the terminate here. And now we need to put the value here. Just select the access token. That's it. Var space and access token. Now we need to put the body. The service principal ID is the Azure Application Registration Client ID. What client ID? The application number 2 client ID. So we just come over here, copy the application 2 and paste the ID here. And let's go to the environment itself. I might need to, yeah, here we see that this application doesn't exist here. So I will just run it. And maybe I don't want to see a failed, or we don't really need this terminate. So we just change it, press save. Do a test from the previous run, and magic happens now. When you see the green icon here, it means that we have done our job right. It might take 2 more seconds. Great. And now we see a 200 code. The best code you can see in an API call. And if I come over here, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 applications. If I refresh, it should show 9. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here it is. Application app 2. This is what we have registered. And the interesting thing is that this has the system administrator security role. So this was one of the challenges of non-English environments. There are many other ways to add the service principal to an environment using a PowerShell, CLI, I don't know, many other things. But the problem is you need to know the security role name. To gain that, you need to search for template ID, and this is very complex. So instead of doing all of those very heavy coding, you just need to run these 2 HTTP calls. So good luck administrating of the Power Platform. And don't forget to subscribe.